Hi, my name is Ann Hart-Gozzard, and I am adopted. I grew up with two wonderful parents, Nancy and Jack Hart, and my sister Jackie, who was 8 years older and also adopted. We always were surrounded by lots of aunts and wonderful cousins and had a typical childhood. Little did I know, even could ever dream or think about the fact that after I was married and settled in Flourtown, Pennsylvania, that my entire biological family would live less than half a mile away from me.
I was adopted in 1959, a time when we didn't know too much about our background or anything. I know my parents knew that I was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, and that's how they adopted me. And they knew no family history or anything. I always knew that I was adopted my entire life, and I always saw it as a thing to celebrate.
I really started to wonder, was I really even Irish? So with that posing question, as well as being interested in learning a little bit more about my medical history, I decided to contact the adoption agency from which my parents had adopted me, Catholic Social Services in Philadelphia. I really thought for a long time about the fact that I was starting to embark on this journey to learn more about myself, yet at the same time not really being all that interested in making a connection with actual people. About 2 months later, I received a letter from Catholic Social Services just giving me a review of my file. I was satisfied what I had learned. I had learned that I did come from Irish and German ancestry. However, several days later, unexpectedly in the mail, I received a second letter from Catholic Social Services, and inside of it, I found a copy of the obituary for my biological mother. Sadly, she had died the year before, and her funeral had been just in another town over from us. Also listed in her obituary were the name of 3 children that she had. After a little thinking about it and talking with my husband and children, I decided that I would reach out to these 3 children via email. So I sent an email on a Thursday evening, and within 5 minutes, maybe 2, I received a phone call and 2 texts from the 3 children that were listed on the obituary. The first person that called was Susan. While we spoke on the phone, I had received a text from her brother Joe and her sister Katie. I went from having 1 sister to now having 3 sisters, 1 brother, and 10 nieces and nephews, which was pretty exciting.
I'm often asked if I have any interest in hunting my family down, and I always say that I do not.
I always felt that I was a little different than the rest of my family, not in a bad way, but some of my personality traits were definitely different than how my parents lived their life.
My parents always told us that there was a lot more of nurture going on than nature when it came to who we became as adults. And I believed that from the bottom of my heart, because I felt so blessed to be in a family that was a performance arts family, and that's what I became as I grew up. It was my absolute joy to be on the stage, and then to become who I am today, it just seemed to all make sense that there was so much nurture going on.
While my parents always taught me to be kind and loving and look at the best in people, I was always filled with love, loving thoughts and loving feelings about other people. But there is a part of my personality. I was always volunteering. I was always helping others, and I felt that that was something that was above and beyond. And I remember when I met the Clanks for the first time, and they started to talk about my biological mother and father, Sue and Whitey, that they were the same type of people, more the merrier, do as much as you could for someone else, always trying to help others. And I kind of felt validated.
And So it was always my dream to adopt as well, and so my husband and I adopted 2 of our 3 children. And although I still believe that nurture plays a huge part in who we become, I started to think that maybe there was some nature there as well, knowing a little bit more about their background than I knew about mine, and seeing some things come out in their own personalities that were probably more nurture. They had a lot of personality similarities to each other, my 2 daughters, who are biological sisters. And so then I really grew to think that it was a balance between the 2, that both of these things had to come into play, and somehow that combines to make us who we are.